Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to New York Islanders franchise mode here in NHL 25. So last episode, if you did not catch it, we had free agency and started up the season simulation, and we didn't really make any changes in free agency. We did decide to make ourselves a trade so that way we could better utilize our team a little bit, but so far the season's been off to a good start, just like last year's playoff run obviously was. We are 28-2 at December the 17th, so far one of the better teams in the league, which is great to see. The only thing that's not been simulating really well for us is our penalty kill, which is 26th in the league, but I have been impressed with most of the things on this roster at the moment, which is nice to see. Our captain, Anton Frondell's been leading the team. He's been off to a very good start this year. Also, our top defenseman, and Olli Houtenen's been off to a very good start this year. He's over point per game as well. And then we have some guys that are just over point per game and some just below it, but in general, I've been really impressed with the scoring from our team for the most part. And then one thing that's been really good to see is our goaltending has been doing well. Solovyov has been injured a couple of times to start off the season so far, but he has a 9.25 through 12 games. Meanwhile, the youngster in Pedro Hainsey, who is the backup, has a 910 save percentage in 18 games because he has started the majority of them due to Solovyov's injuries. So our goaltending has been good, and our offensive play for the most part has been good, especially a few guys. So I'm expecting more of the same as we simulate more of the season in this episode, because we're probably going to simulate to a day before the trade deadline. I don't really expect us to make really much changes this year as we go on throughout the season, but obviously if this team comes crashing down in this episode, maybe we do make some changes. But if we continue this type of trend that we're on right now, I honestly don't think I'll make much changes as we simulate the rest of the year. So we definitely should be a playoff team again this season if we continue on this pace, which is great to see as well. So hopefully we can make it back to another Stanley Cup Finals like we were last season. But anyways, before we simulate more of the season up until the trade deadline, let's get in your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode. And then we'll probably continue simulating unless there's some line adjustments that we want to make. So the first comment is from Sound Otaku. Says, despite the inconsistencies and injuries, the team is doing well so far. I don't think any trades are necessary unless you really start falling off. They'll pay close attention to that second line since they're your biggest defensive liability. And yeah, that's the one thing we need to kind of look out for is our second line. It hasn't been that good defensively right now. It is a good line though of Crane. Actually, there is an injury at the moment because Eriksson normally plays that second line spot. Mäkinen is still out for a little bit, so that's why it looks a little bit strange. But normally it's Crane, Eriksson, and Giordano. And as you can see with the guys like Giordano, he's a -8 so far, which obviously is not very good. You go up to Eriksson, he is a -3, which isn't too bad to be honest. And then you have Crane, who is a -6. So Crane and Giordano really haven't been that good defensively. But I'm expecting maybe as we score more goals throughout the season, these numbers should improve, hopefully. If they don't, obviously, maybe we look to make some adjustments. But I don't really think it's necessarily warranted because we have very good depth on every single one of our lines. Now, we could always try some adjustments like moving Fido into the top 6, moving Eriksson down into the top 9 instead. But for right now, obviously, I think we'll probably keep it the same once we get back to full health, especially because Mäkinen being out right now still kind of sucks a little bit. But once he's back, basically Leahy drops to the third line and our center depth looks really, really good. And the last and final comment is from Michael Dos, who says they don't think any line changes are needed nor trades as it looks like the team has found itself in the last 30 days of games. And yeah, I think the team definitely has found itself in the last 30 days of games or so. Obviously, we started off the season on a little bit of a 500 note, which I was kind of expecting our team not necessarily to get off to the greatest start, and it was like that. And then we end up finding ourselves in like the last month or so, which is great to see. So hopefully we just continue on this trend and we don't all of a sudden go back to like being like maybe 20-15-2 instead of 28-2. I'd prefer to kind of cruise our way throughout the season. Not necessarily winning a President's Trophy though, because if we win the President's Trophy, that chances of us winning a Stanley Cup might go down the tubes a little bit. But hopefully we have a good regular season for the most part. And obviously once we get to the playoffs again, hopefully we can go on a good little run like last year. But hopefully it results in us winning a Stanley Cup this time around. But with that said, I think we're going to keep the lines the same to start off this episode. Obviously, once we get fully healthy, we'll readjust the lines accordingly. But that second line's the one line we'll look out for throughout the season and see if the plus minus starts to improve or not. So let's continue to simulate. We'll go to the end of December. I believe Mäkinen should be back relatively soon. I can't remember how long his injury was until, but I think he should be back soon, which will give us obviously a clean bill of health, which is nice. So let's see if we can continue that offensive play from guys like Frondell and Houghton. Let's see if we can continue that goaltending play from our two goaltenders, and hopefully we kind of stay healthier than we were in the first little bit of the season, because like I said, there was a lot of injuries, but we managed to overcome most of them. So let's see what I got here. First game against Anaheim to start the episode. 3-2 win. Nicely done, boys. Bjorkstrand's now been injured with back spasms, so I did say about being more healthy in this episode, but unfortunately we just suffered another big injury to another top-line guy in Bjorkstrand, so I guess we'll go to edit lines manually. I believe Makinen should be returning soon, which means I could hypothetically move Giordano to that top line. No, Makinen's still out, so I guess what we're going to do, Giordano's going to go up, Cialfito's going to play on that second line, Nielakainen's going to get third line ice time. Actually, maybe I shouldn't go Nielakainen. Nielakainen's a checking forward. Maybe I should give this to Leg instead. You know what? We'll give it to Leg just because Leg's more of a goal scorer anyways. And then we'll throw in a fourth line player. Who do we want to throw in here? Kaminsky, I guess, considering he can play left wing as well. Sure. It doesn't really too matter about the special teams when we're making these injury adjustments, but for now, we'll go with that. We'll also put Kaminsky on this power play point. Doesn't really matter. So let's just get him in that spot. I believe he's the center, I said. Yeah, there you go. And that should be good. At least Bjorkstrand's not out too long term. Like, these injuries at least are going to, like, the end of the month. So hopefully once the calendar flips over to the new year, our team ends up staying a little bit more healthy, because these injuries are kind of adding up quite a bit this season. Like I said, we've lost Solovyov a couple times. We've lost Kaminsky, or not Kaminsky, what am I saying? Kaminsky, goddamn. We lost Makinen before. We've lost Bjorkstrand. We've lost, I think, a couple other dudes too to injury a couple times throughout the season. So I just want our team to stay as healthy as possible, because that'll obviously give us a better chance to win. But if we're still winning games with our depth forwards in, it definitely shows our team is good enough to win a cup this year, I would say. So let's stop the simulation here and continue. See what we could do here. We did beat Columbus 5-0. Makinen is back, which is great news, obviously, because obviously he's our best center. So we'll take Lindros out, and that will get Makinen back into the power play and all that stuff, I believe. So we'll move down the other guys. Let me just double check that Makinen's on the power play again, which he is. So that's all good and ready to go. The only guy we're waiting on now is Bjorkstrand, and once he's back, hopefully he stays healthy. For the most part, our top six has been healthy the last 2 years, so for it to have an injury-riddled season is kind of to be expected in a sense, because obviously once you don't have guys play out 82 games for like 20 straight seasons most of the time. So, all right, Nielakainen's apparently losing some morale because of ice time, which is not necessarily a great thing. But I don't really know if there's any way I could really get him more ice time, to be honest. So that's one thing also with this team. It's a little bit worrisome, is getting guys the amount of ice time that they deserve. So hopefully in the offseason we could kind of rework things a little bit. Now, I do really like our top 9, even our top 12, like all forwards that we have on this team. I don't really want to get rid of anybody, but we might have to at some point. Like if we win a Stanley Cup, maybe I decide to part ways with Anton Frondell at some point. I'm really not too sure, but I just really like the chemistry on this team. I like the depth on this team. Like, this is probably one of the stronger looking teams I've built in the last little while. So hopefully it's good enough to win ourselves a Stanley Cup, because obviously we've not won in the Stanley Cup finals yet at this point in time. All right, so we did lose 3 straight games, but at least we win the last one 7-5, which means we're going into 2037 on a 23-10-3 record, which is pretty damn good. That has us currently as one of the better teams in the league at the moment, like top 5, I think. So we're in a good spot. Just got to keep on simulating decently. Hopefully staying healthy the rest of the way if possible as well. So let's go to the 16th of January. Take it a little bit slower. I don't really want to rush through this episode, so it's really short. But at the same time, I really want to just see what these guys are producing like. Because if I was right looking at Houghton's offensive stats, he might be on pace for over 100 points this year if he continues on the 37 points that he had in 30 games. So who knows, we might have a 100-point defenseman this year, which would be the first time I've had that since probably Morgan Griffin in my Houston series a number of years ago. So I really hope that we might have ourselves our first 100-point defender since then. We'll get Pratt back in onto the second pairing. That is good. Hopefully the AHL's having a good year too, because I wouldn't mind some good growth down there in the minors. We're on a nice little winning streak here. We're 5 games in a row, scoring like 4+ goals in each of them. So I'm expecting the offensive numbers are going up here as the season's going on, which means the plus-minus should hypothetically improve as well. So that's good. We are currently first place in the Metro, and we are currently second place in the league, only behind the Oilers, who we lost to in the Cup Finals last year. That's kind of interesting. All right, let's continue to simulate. See if we could string together some more wins. We don't need to dominate the entire season, but as long as we make the playoffs, it's good. There's another 2 wins with 7+ goals in each of them. So yeah, our team's offense is definitely doing really well here so far. Rokan's injured in the AHL. He doesn't matter too much, but I'll go replace player. Vancouver is a 4-1 win. Calgary is a shootout win. I'll take a shootout win. Utah, 5-3 loss. And New Jersey to wrap up the month of January. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Goddamn. And we do get another injury, and it's only a strained hamstring, so it's only for like a week, which is fine considering we only have 1 game in between then, so it's really not that bad. But Tatar will be out. Let's just go replace player because he's only going to literally miss like 1 game because we're kind of lucky that we have no games hardly at all this week. So we will be back to full health for this game against Carolina when Tatar returns. Did we win that last game? No, we did not. Okay. Well, let's go to the 8th so we can get Tatar back into the lineup. And Rokan back into the lineup, I guess, for the AHL as well. Who was scratched? I think it was Bathgate, if I remember right. Yeah, I think it was Bathgate. So let's take Bathgate out. And we got to get Rokan back in here. Hopefully some guys are getting some growth in there, especially Korolyuk. If he's NHL ready next season, we are going to have to definitely find a way to get rid of some people on our team to fit him into our roster. He's an exciting prospect, I'd say. Like, he's only 21 years old and he's 76. He only has 19 points in 44 games and is a -15. So I guess the AHL team might not be actually doing as good as I was hoping for. But yeah, this guy could jump to the NHL relatively quick. Aside from that, there's not really too much other guys that I don't think are getting a lot of growth, but hopefully some guys make it soon. Ellington's kind of close. That is a 23-year-old. Prince is already 25 years old, so he's kind of like a depth forward at best, which is not ideal, but it is all right. Okay, so Tatar's still out for a little bit longer. He will be returning here shortly, which is good to see. Let me stop the sim because I can't even see what's happening. Not that we're missing any games anyways, and Tatar should be back here, right? I thought he was supposed to be back on the 8th, but I guess he's back for this Carolina game. But still, that's good. Like I said, that was kind of nice to have that week where our team didn't play a single game, got our guys some rest, and also got our defense back to full health, which is always a good thing. So Tatar will come back in, and that should be good. Perfect. All right, so 34-14-3. We are tied with the Rangers. Damn, our New York rivals are doing just as good as us. They've played less games too, so there's a chance that we might not even win our division if it continues like that, which is not necessarily a bad thing because if we come 3rd or 4th place in the league, maybe we have the best chance to win the Stanley Cup because of that. But we only got a couple more games to simulate in this episode, which is kind of crazy because I feel like I've been talking fast and this episode's been going fast. It's only been 12 minutes of recording. Let's go to March the 1st and see how we do in this month of February. We lose the first one after the last one, I guess I could say. And we lose one against Columbus. Florida is another loss. So we're on a little bit of a downwards trajectory, but it might be okay for our playoff chances. Like I said, you don't want to win the President's Trophy, so to lose a couple games here and there might actually help us a little bit. As apparently some guys on our top 6 pairing, Kasivi and Schaefer, are both losing morale because of ice time. So that's another thing we need to worry about this offseason, is still trying to find ways to get Schaefer more ice time. I think the only way we get him more ice time is if we trade away somebody in our top 4, which is not ideal, but might have to happen. And holy crap, that's a pretty devastating injury to Sven Prince. Now, I said he's getting close to being a depth forward. He's 25 years old, so I don't really expect him to be much at this point, but he has gotten a lacerated arm, and he will be out till May the 17th, so his season's pretty much done if the AHL team has missed the playoffs, so that's quite a big blow to the AHL team, but they aren't going to make the playoffs, it seems like, anyways, so I guess it's not a huge issue. All right, 39-18-3, only a couple more games left to simulate in this episode, only 2 more games to be exact, so let's just go through them, and we'll go through some stats and see what's been going good for us at this point. Now, Rollins in the AHL has also been injured with injured ribs, so the AHL is getting slapped with a couple injuries here in this episode. And we do win the last 2 games to end this episode, so that's good. So we are currently tied for the best team in the NHL with the Edmonton Oilers again, and it's the exact same amount of games played, the exact same record too. God damn, that's actually kind of funny. Last year we both played each other in the Cup Finals, and so far we're both leading for the President's Trophy with the exact same record. Weird indeed. All right, well, let's take a look at some stats here. So first and foremost, our team stats, so I'll remove my face so you guys can see this a bit better. We are currently 4th in goals for at 3.76 goals for per game. We are 1st in goals against, so we are up there for maybe a chance for Solovyov to get a Vezina, Hainsey to be a part of a Jennings Trophy winning season. That's pretty exciting. We're 6th on power play percentage at 21.1%, and we're 23rd on the PK. So our penalty kill is still not very good. It has improved, I think, in this episode, but it's still not very good. So that's maybe one area we could address potentially at the deadline, but it doesn't necessarily need to happen, I don't think, either. But let's take a look at some stats here. Holy crap, I didn't even realize that. Anton Frondell's already got 82 points, so he'll end the season over point per game regardless. How much games have we played this season? Or how many games, I should say? 62 games. So he has 20 more games left to get 18 points. There's a chance that Anton Frondell has a 100-point season this year, which is not really what I was expecting from him, because the last few years he's been kind of on a downwards trajectory, but he's having a very, very good year, which is nice to see from our captain. And holy crap, we're getting some more good offensive numbers from other guys, and Houghton's still over point per game as a D-man too, I think I just saw, so. But Makinen's missed some games due to injury, but he's on 71 points in 59 games. I'm really glad we locked this guy up because he's actually worth his money right now at $9.25 million. We thought it was going to be maybe a bit expensive, but so far he is on a career high this season. Like, he's definitely going to probably beat that 79 points from last year. His plus minus is way, way better. So first line's doing a lot of good work here. Bjorkstrand's on 55 points in 59 games. Obviously, he's missed some as well. Not picking up as much points, but he is still scoring a good chunk of goals. And then that second line is finding itself defensively a little bit as Giordano, getting moved into the top 6, has 50 points in 62 games. So I think it was good that we let go of Jääskeläinen. Obviously, the goal scoring with Jääskeläinen would have been nice to have. But Giordano's been a very solid offensive player still in that same type of role, which is nice to see. Eriksson's on 37 points, -1, so he's only a -1, but 37 points, not too bad. Kind of expected a little bit more out of him as a top 6 forward, but I should be getting close to his numbers from the last few years. So that's not necessarily that bad, I guess. Leahy on 29 points, pretty solid, +7. Kaminsky on 4 assists in 8 games. Lindros 2 goals in 3 games, so the 2 depth forwards doing decently. Then again, they did get power play time when they were in the lineup. Left wing side of things, we got Frondell on the 82 points in 62 games, including 32 goals and a +48 already. By the end of the season, his plus minus might be like a +60 something, so maybe it's just most of our top line doing a lot of the legwork. But this is already, I believe, yeah, it's already tied for a career high in points for Anton Frondell. He had 82 points 7 seasons ago, and he's already got that in 62 games this year. Good stuff. Cialfido on 45 points. He's been really solid. Karain on 38 points, 24 goals. Not as doing much offensively as I was expecting him to, because he has been more of like a point per game type of player. But he is still scoring goals, so at least that's decent. A lot of our guys on that second line are actually listed as first line forwards, so that's a little bit worrisome too with the ice time. Leeson's on 31 points, 15 goals. Legs on 25 points, 13 goals. So if we look at our forwards right now, before we go to our defense, we have some pretty good depth scoring, I would say, considering we have one 30-goal scorer, we have 3 other 20-goal scorers, and we have a bunch of guys on 10-plus goals. So the only one that hasn't been really scoring that much is like the fourth line, but the depth scoring is fantastic. So I like it. From a defensive standpoint, I did see Houghton is still over point per game, so maybe this is the year that Houghton does win a Norris Trophy. Like I said in last episode, he's continuing on that pace. I don't think he's going to hit 100 points this year, but he still should be like an 80-90 point defenseman if he continues on this pace, which is pretty damn good. Because if I do 66 divided by 62, and I times that by an 82-game regular season, he's on pace for like 87 points. So he's not on pace for 100 points, but 87 points as a D-man would be absolutely awesome. He does still have one more year left on his contract before I'm going to give him the moon, basically, to sign with us, because I don't want to lose this guy. I think he's definitely an important piece to have on this blue line, and he's definitely been helping out our offense quite a bit. Tatar's been also good this year. He missed one game due to injury, but 23 points plus 26. Salmaline at 17 points plus 11, not bad. Schaefer's literally doing relatively around the same, 13 points plus 13. So I'm almost leaning towards trading away Salmaline, not necessarily during the season, but in the offseason. Might not be a bad idea, so that way we could get Schaefer into that top 4 like we were anticipating to, because they do rate around the same amount of numbers, like point per game percentage is right around the same, goals per game, assists per game, plus minus is around the same, penalty minutes are around the same. Like, Schaefer hasn't taken a single penalty as a defenseman all year. So I'm leaning towards maybe getting rid of Salmelainen and getting Schaefer to play in that top 4 with Boyd. And then Kasivi could probably stay on that top 6 pairing. Something like that. Kasivi's not been that bad this season either. He's listed still as a top 6 D-man. I don't know why he's losing morale, because I feel like he's getting enough ice time. But apparently he's not. So we might have to get him onto the power play instead. Now, Schaefer has been getting power play time, so that could be why he's doing just as good as Salmelainen. I'm not too sure. Boyd's got 10 assists and a +10. No goals so far for him. And then Wilkinson, an assist in 3 games. Or 1 game in a +3. He's actually listed now as a top 6 defenseman as well. So hypothetically, what we could do is in the offseason, get rid of Salmelainen, and then it's basically Houghton and Tatar, Schaefer and Boyd, Kasivi and Wilkinson on that top 6. And then, yeah, we probably ship away Salmelainen because of that. That's probably what I would be looking into, to be honest, if we want to rework the defensive core again. From a goaltending perspective, though, Solovyov's on a 9-17. He's already got 5 shutouts through 37 games. Obviously, he missed a good chunk early on in the season, so that could hurt his Vezina chances. But he's had a really good year, and he's definitely building off last year's playoffs. He's been probably one of the most inconsistent goalies I've seen, though, because his last 3 years have been kind of weird and all over the place, like a 913 save percentage. Then he plays terribly in the playoffs that year with an 863. Then the year afterwards, he posted an 899 during the regular season, but then he posted 922 in the playoffs. This year, he's got a 918. Is he going to post like an 8-something in the playoffs? Hopefully not. But he's been good. Hainsey's on an 898 now, so his numbers have definitely dropped off a lot since being the backup, but he's still been giving us a winning record, which is not too bad. And no assists from either goalie so far at this point. All right, let's take a look at some league leaders for now at this time. Just to see where Frundell is in terms of points. He is currently still top 10 in points, but he's not the leader anymore. It is Guerin of the Rangers. Not really a surprise because Guerin's insane. 53 goals already for this guy. McDavid's up there as well. Connor Bedard. Matt Coronado. That's kind of an interesting one. And Alexis Lafreniere. Quinton Byfield. And then there is Frundell. Interesting. Best defenseman so far in terms of points is Houghton with 66 points. He's got 9 more points than the next closest D-man. He's also got a great plus-minus. I think this is the year that Houghton could win his Norris. As long as he stays healthy the rest of the season, I think he's got it in the bag almost. From a goaltending perspective, just in case you were wondering, Vezina favorites right now, you're probably looking at Sommers in Montreal and then obviously Solovyov from us. But Solovyov from us has a way better goals against average. So as long as Solovyov stays healthy the rest of the way, he might be up there. That games played, though, might be a bit low for him to win the Vezina. Not too sure. Any goalie goals so far this season? No. Most assists so far is 5 from that Somers guy. God damn, 5 assists is a lot for a goalie. All right. Best rookie so far this season is Vorobiev, I should say, in Toronto. Speaking of Toronto, I do want to also go to the Leafs for a second here. I know we're still in the season, and obviously we do still have to take a look at stats and stuff like that in next episode as well, but I do want to see how Jääskeläinen's fitting in with the Leafs. He's leading them in points. Damn, all right. So Timo Jääskeläinen has been a good fit for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's got 29 goals and 63 points. Kind of good to see him doing well there, even though I don't like Toronto. Yeah, it does kind of suck that he's doing good there, but I kind of expected him to after what he did for us last year. But I think I'm okay with losing him just because of the fact Giordano seems to be a solid producer for us currently at the moment. So there is that. All right, now the question is, what is on the trade block, and is there anything worth trading for potentially? Like I said, I don't really know if there's anything I'd upgrade too much other than our penalty kill, but we could just rework our penalty kill lines the rest of the season and just keep the roster the same, because right now we're a good defensive team except for on the PK, so maybe rework those lines a bit, find a way to get some of those guys more ice time that they deserve, and we might be okay. So I'm honestly not too sure if we'll actually make any trades next episode, but we might as well look at the block in case. So Anaheim still has Zellweger on the block, not really a surprise. Beagle's on the block in Boston as like a depth sniper option. Don't really need that, to be honest. JJ Moser's on the block with 1 year left. Dahlin's on the block with 1 year left. I don't need Rasmus Dahlin at this point in his career. Carl Lottie's on the block as an offensive defenseman. Don't really need that either. How offensive is this guy? He's kind of offensive, but he's more of an AHL defenseman, it seems like. What else they got here? Nothing else really. Samu Toomala. I know that name just because I've been nerfing players in my roster build and stuff like that. Still trying to get that done for you guys as fast as possible. Tomasino on the block. Paul Ludwinski. All right. Jakob Stansel was his name? Yeah, Jakob Stansel. Damn, now I know all these weird-ass friggin' player names. Chicago has Gabriel Dag on the block. Damn, that's a pretty good goalie, but we don't need goalies. Colorado, just some prospects. We don't need prospects right now. Columbus, same type of boat. Dallas, same type of boat as well. All right. Detroit, same type of thing. So it looks like a lot of teams have prospects on the block. Edmonton has Leon Draisaitl on the block, but they are literally first place for the President's Trophy, just like us. That's kind of insane. I don't think there's anywhere I could fit Draisaitl, but it would be literally funny considering he just won a cup against us. But he's still similarly very good. 62 points in 62 games. He's 41 years old at this point. And obviously he did some damage against us last year a little bit. Damn. It would be interesting, but I don't know why Edmonton would have guys like this on the block, though, when they're literally tied for the President's Trophy right now. Like, are they trying to make themselves a little bit worse? So that way they end up winning the Stanley Cup? I honestly don't know. But the AI works in weird ways in this game. Brant Clark's still on the block. Not really surprised. Montreal, Minnesota. Coletta, who's only 22 as an 80, is pretty solid, but obviously that's not what we're looking for at this stage. If we were rebuilding, this guy would be a nice kind of centerman to have, but damn. Kind of surprised he's on the block. All right. Montreal looks like some more prospects. Nashville, same type of boat. Yeah, it's just mostly prospects on the block here right now. Jesper Bratt's on the block, though. Dawson Mercer, Spencer Knight, David Spacek, and is it Fabio? No, Fabian. Fabian Wagner. I thought it was Fabio for some reason. I was going to be like, damn, Fabio's a friggin' sick name, but... the New York Rangers have Bowen Byram on the block. Jesse Pulkkinen, Otto Selin. Are these guys from the same team? I don't think so, right? No. I know they both played in Finland, no. Anything else we got here? Anything else? Is this guy a guy named Connor? No, Corey Connor. Damn, it's almost like Corey Conacher. Philadelphia, Connor Zary. All right. There is some okay players, but I honestly don't think they're anything we drastically need right now. So like I said, we honestly could just stay the course and see if this team makes it back to the finals again. Because, I mean, at least most of this team has kind of like good enough morale and stuff like that. Everybody has good enough chemistry. Like, I don't really want to disrupt the chemistry, to be honest, on this team that much. So I think maybe running the same team into the playoffs might not be a bad option. Like, there is depth forwards and stuff like that, but I don't think there are much upgrades from the ones we have at the moment. As long as we stay healthy going throughout the rest of the season, I think we'll be fine. So there is all of that. Anything else I want to take a look at in this episode? Trying to remember. Let me look at the contracts. I'm kind of curious on who's up for renewal this offseason. Let's just go through this just for an extra little thing. Okay, so Giordano's a pending RFA again. So we are going to have to spend a good chunk of money on our RFAs this offseason. Yeah. So that's where I'm thinking maybe trading away Salmelainen in the offseason would make sense. So that way we could get Schaefer up there since he's a pending RFA. Cassivi could play on that top six with Wilkinson. And then we probably have guys in the system like this Albrecht guy who we drafted. I almost completely forgot about mentioning him. He's jumped up now to a 77 at 21 before he's even made his AHL debut. So this guy should be jumping into our defensive core maybe full-time next season. So, yeah, we probably need to make that trade in the offseason. Rutter's up to a 76 as a top four defenseman as well. So we do have some decisions. Also, Novoseltsev, who we recently drafted, is up to a 73. So... yeah, we are definitely going to have to probably ship away some defensemen soon, and I think that this offseason's probably the best time to do it. So there's all of that, and I don't think there's anything else we need to take a look at, right? Don't think so. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of New York Islanders Franchise Mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the 2037 trade deadline. We'll see what type of trades we decide to make, if we decide to make any at all. I don't really think it's needed because we're 41, 18, and 3 right now, so... We're on pace to win a President's Trophy, so I think even upgrading our penalty kill is not something I need to necessarily do. I think it could figure itself out probably in the playoffs or something like that. And I think this team easily could go on a good little run again this season, as long as we stay healthy, like I said, because we've had some injury troubles this season. So as long as we're healthy the rest of the way, I think this team could go on a good little run. So let's think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.